Stephanie Sims, are you ready to fearlessly question today?
I think I am, Joey.
I will take that. And I'm kind of excited about this. I don't know that I think this is going to go a little bit different than most shows. I'm a little too laid back. I think I know you a little bit too much for most guests, and we've had a little too many interactions. But I'm going to do my best to treat you like everybody else, and we're going to see where it's going to go. But first, fake fearless question to you is: what's one thing that you can't help but do?
I can't help but do. Oh, I can't help but mother people.
Really? And how
Yeah.
so?
Well, you know this. I want to make sure everybody's all right, and so I'm there and I'm asking, and I'm like, okay, so do you really think that that's a good idea? Maybe you ought to take a little time to think about it. Or the other thing that I do that people I think find really irritating is I ask them what they want to do. Are you sure that's okay with you? Does that make sense? Okay, well let's do that then.
Do you think it's beneficial?
I think it makes people feel comfortable, which is important to me because I want people to feel comfortable with me, that they can trust me, and that I'm listening to them. I do think sometimes it can go too far.
It's a little bit deeper than I was hoping. I was hoping for something just kind of menial, like not all that important. Like I was just thinking to myself today, I can't help but stare at my stupid grass. And it's like, I don't know why I do it. Like it's terrible. I just look out the window. I like to look out the window, and then I scare my neighbors because I'm looking out the window. They see me looking out the window, and then they start to bring their kids inside, and they're like getting uncomfortable, and then it's just weird.
Okay, well, do you want something completely banal and totally uninteresting?
Preferably, yes. Always uninteresting works on the show. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I can't help but drink too many tabs.
Drink too many tabs, as in like the drink tab.
Yes, as in that fluorescent pink can
I've
that is
never,
around
I've,
since the 70s.
I've never had it once, not even once.
It's my guilty pleasure.
Well, enough with the silliness and my inexperience in canned soda. Um, why don't you go ahead and tell your story as it relates to fearlessly questioning, not caring?
Okay, wow. You didn't prepare me for this, Joey. Um,
So I ask it every. That's how I ask it every show starts like that. Stephanie, come on.
no, I know that, but I wasn't ready for this. Actually, you want me to talk about how I met you, or do you want me to talk about why not caring is important to me?
There are no rules. It is your story as it relates to fearlessly questioning, not caring.
Okay. Well, here's I think the reason that I wanted to talk about it today is because I am in the throes of a marketing campaign, if you will, for something that I've been working on for a long time that's very important to me, that I really want to share with people. And I feel like sometimes I get held back in the things I need to do to promote this work because I care too much about what people think. As an example, I wanted to reach out to somebody who I think would be excellent to read what I've written and to tell other people about it. And I still have not been able to send the email because I'm concerned that this person is going to think that, who the hell are you and why would I talk to you anyway? And why are you bothering me to read this silly thing? So that's what I think.
You can tell everybody what it is. It's your book, right? What's the official title of the book? I don't know if I know it. I'm a
The
bad
official
friend.
the official title of the book is Funding Your Business Without Selling Your Soul.
I think I knew that. Sorry, I cannot feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
And who is this person?
David McClure of 500 Startups. So Dave McClure of 500 Startups, if you are watching this show, I would love to have you blurb my book, and I will give you as many free copies as you want.
Funny enough, Dave is actually a longtime viewer, listener of the show. I will see what we can do to actually make that happen, Stephanie. It's a lucky day.
Okay, my lucky day. You don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly. I don't know who Dave McClure is actually, so I don't know if that's actually going to help you or not. But that's my ignorance. I'll put it out there. I'm sorry. I don't pay attention to important things like money. I'm terrible. But anyways, let's dispense of the stuff that is not that interesting. We're just going to take the gloves off because it's about that time. And the first real fearless question to you, Stephanie, is how do you stop caring from watering down your ideas?
I think you have to care about the right people. And this was something as we haven't talked about it yet, but as I was thinking about the show, I realized it was important to distinguish between who are the people whose opinion actually needs to be taken into account and who are the people whose opinion just doesn't matter, right? And that's where, for me, sometimes I have a hard time because Dave McClure, for example, is someone whose opinion definitely needs to be taken into account because he is very active in the venture capital community and is very influential. So he's somebody who could help me and who has an opinion that counts. Somebody else who, my mom, for example, I love my mom. She's really terrific. But if she decided she didn't like my book, it would probably upset me, but I wouldn't let that stop me because her opinion about the book isn't that important, even though it might hurt me personally. Does that make sense?
It does, and it sucks that I'm gonna have to get some angry emails from your mom because I'm not looking forward to those. But it's okay that you throw her under the bus under what is a pretty prominent platform. All right. So let me challenge you this. So I'm going to say this though, Mr. McClure, who I apparently need to go. I'll try and Google in between answers here. Here's the thing though, is that not the actual person that maybe you need to stop caring about first? Because he's looking at something from a very established point of view, whereas if you break it down to the most root, core principle, that you might actually find yourself in a better place.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question. You mean, should I stop caring about him because I've made him into some kind of celebrity? And
I at least get one time a show, a guest will always tell me that they don't understand the question. So at least we got that out of the way. No, so I'm saying he's already coming from a very established point of view, but sometimes that experience can blind you from seeing the potential in knowing exactly, well, let's see what the future of this is. Because I can go talk to some executive in health insurance that has been doing it for 20 years, but I think I can tell them about 16 different ways as to why I think they're going in the wrong direction.
Okay, so yes, I think the answer to your question is yes. I need to be aware of that. But in this particular case, Dave McClure is actually kind of at the cutting edge of funding because he works in a venture accelerator. And he's also, anyway, there's lots of reasons that he's kind of on the progressive end. He's not necessarily one of the establishment people. If I was going to try to get in front of Jamie Dimon, for example, the president of Chase Bank, then I think what you're saying would be true. But I do think it's a balance, though. Finding somebody who's willing to listen to your ideas and willing to take chances on it versus trying to make your idea accepted by somebody who's already achieved a certain level of influence. Oh, there's that word. Ooh, yuck, influence.
I won't hold it against you. So I guess this comes down to then maybe instead of caring, it comes down to another C word and let's call it convincing. Is that maybe the problem?
I think the real issue, my real issue, is separating the personal from the business. That's what I think. Because it hurts my feelings. Like I told you, it hurt my feelings even if my mom didn't like my book. But I can't let that stop me from doing it. And because she's not in my industry, I'm not going to let that stop me. But if it was someone in my industry, all of a sudden, I think it would make me question if what I was doing was really worthwhile. If this person who really has a lot of knowledge and a ton of experience said, yeah, but why are you doing that? I think I would take it personally, and it might keep me from getting that idea out there just because they said they didn't understand it or didn't like it.
Aren't moms supposed to like everything, though?
My mom loves me, but she just might not like the book, right?
Well, you're talking hypothetical as if this is some far-fetched like fantasy world that you could never live in. Has she read the book?
She's reading the book right now. And my dad likes the book. He's read the book.
I mean, I guess the point is like people like your parents. I mean, theoretically, most parents, I mean, outside of, the ones that you get taken away from by customer or, child services, I mean, they normally are supportive, right? And I mean, I guess they should be, right? I mean, those are the people that you look to just encourage you and lie to you. And I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. I'm figuring this out as a parent myself, but go on.
Right. But this was my question. The second thing you said there is those people's opinions count because of a different kind of relationship, but do their opinions count less about stuff that's important to you because you think they might just be supportive and be lying to you? They wouldn't give you an honest opinion because they just want to be supportive.
Well, I guess where I came from this is you said you would be upset if your mom didn't like the book, but I mean, why? I mean, yeah, like we would expect them to like it, but if they didn't like, I mean, is she supposed to like it?
Well, I mean, I want her to think I did a good job, right?
But I mean, that's a hard thing to ask. I mean, if your mom, one, doesn't critique books all the time, and two, care about funding businesses, then I mean, that's right. Two strikes. I mean, like we can find a third if we want to, but I mean, I think that's a big ask, I guess, is my thing.
This is the beauty of me. It doesn't have to be logical. It's just me.
Well, that's not a very so I'm guessing. So based on that, you're saying that regardless of all that, you think that she still you would still expect that, like that would hurt your feelings, even though that she's like, let's call it very I don't know your mom. We have never spoken, but she's, let's say, unqualified to say yes or no that she may or may like this book or need to like this book.
Right. And now it's interesting because it's true. What I am expecting is unconditional acceptance and support, even if that means they have to lie. That's kind of what it sounds like, doesn't it?
A little bit, yes. So I guess, I mean, like I don't know. I mean, like, and this drove me nuts. Like, I used to play in bands all the time, and it was not necessarily music you'd put on at Sunday dinner with the family. Let's call it that. And I'd have people, my mom tell me, "Oh, it's really good. It's really good." It's like, listen, mom, you can just let's cut the crap, okay? Like, let's just tell it how it is. And I would rather have honest criticism from somebody, and as opposed to them just telling me what they think I want to hear.
Okay. So, yes, I can agree with that to a certain extent. I think maybe my level of acceptance of criticism is just a lot lower than yours, Joey. Maybe that's what's happening.
I think, and that's the core of this entire conversation here, Stephanie, because it's how high should you have to raise that tolerance, and should you be always seeking more?
Well, and at what point does the fact that
Well, no, you can't answer my question with a question, not on my show.
oh, come on. It was a good one too.
That's all right. I will allow it this time, but you have to still answer the initial question.
Okay, well, re-ask your initial question and then I'll write mine down.
I don't even remember the initial question at this point, but
No,
should we be building more tolerance? Should we be building more critical tolerance, I guess, is the question.
Right. Okay, so I think the answer is it depends on who you are and what your starting point is. Because if you're already at a level where you're pretty resistant to criticism, and criticism to me is not necessarily constructive feedback, right? If somebody comes to you and they say, you know what, there's a typo on page 25. Well, okay, you can do something about that. You can fix that.
That's
right?
The worst. I actually hate that. I hate those people.
Why?
The people that just point out typos, like that's their only job in life. No,
Well, no, it's not their only job in life, but I'm just saying,
well,
they tell you
a job in life.
Well, they're called editors, Joey. They're kind of
well, they're not.
that is their job.
They're just people that I get this stuff all the time. Like people will send me messages like, "Oh, by the way, you misspelled just this one word of all these like 2,000 other words," and I just want to tell you that I've never talked to you before, but I just want to let you know because I think if you don't correct that word, I think it's just really going to bring you down.
Okay. Well, yeah, I agree. That's kind of no context. I agree with you.
I mean, like, if you're asking for that feedback, yes.
Right. Okay. Well, we're kind of assuming that we're asking for feedback, right? Because otherwise we wouldn't be talking to these people.
Well, I just feel like they want to somehow prove their worth to you in some sort of ridiculous fashion. Like, it just drives me nuts. Like, listen, I get it. Like, I'm putting all this stuff out. What are you doing? Like, who are you? Like, at least say hi first. At least wine and dine me a little bit. Like they're asking for the whole thing right up front. They won't even take me out to a nice dinner, and I can't handle it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can agree with you there. But I mean, I was kind of in the part of, this is somebody that I trust and I'm asking for feedback. And so if they give me some constructive feedback where I can do something, then I think that's okay. It's when somebody just kind of gives you that feedback like, well, it just didn't make any sense to me. And you start to ask questions like, okay, which part? Was it the storyline? Was it the example? And well, I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Well, so let's go back. This is good because I think right there is an indication that you're talking to the wrong person. You're caring about the wrong person.
Yeah, maybe.
Because when you bring these things in, I mean, again, if it's a very small circle for me that people that I actually are going to ask for feedback on, that they have to have a very good idea of what's going on. And I mean, I think maybe it's like you said, like, who should we take these criticisms from, or who should we care about, and at what degree and what level? The real question becomes, when you're dealing with that person, I mean, how do you know?
That's the $25,000 pyramid question, right? I think you have to start slow. Like, for example, there's one new person in the circle of people I asked to pre-read my book. Everybody else is someone I've known for a while and that I've had comments or feedback on for other projects, smaller projects. So I'm not out there just saying, hey, what's your name, Joe? Here, Joe, would you read my book and let me know what you think? And so part of it is, they kind of have to pass that test to get to that smaller circle, like you're saying.
Right. Yeah. I haven't gotten an invite to read the book yet, so I guess I know where I'm at, what circle I'm sitting in. That's okay though. Um,
You're a busy guy, Joey. I didn't want to waste your time.
I've told you I don't read, so it's okay. I'm not going to take it personally, but I do want to get back. I got to ask this question though, and kind of in relation to everything that we've talked about. But do we have a tendency then to kind of protect that vision, that thing? What if we don't care?
Right. That's my concern is when you do this, when you practice this retention of information, right? When you say, okay, well, not everybody's feedback is useful to me, so I'm going to limit the people I ask for feedback from. What I'm concerned about too, which sounds completely contrary, but that's just me, is that those people, because they're in a relationship with me and because they know how hard I've worked and they know how important it is to me, are going to kind of pull their punches, right? It's the thing you accuse me of doing, which is I asked you for feedback, and all you can say is something nice. And you almost want to say to him, come on, there's got to be something you didn't like. It can't be perfect. So you put yourself in this weird position where you protected yourself from somebody completely destroying you, but then you're kind of hungry for somebody to come and knock your block tower over.
And this comes back to the thing you said at the beginning of the show that I had no idea was going to tie in, but you said your motherly instincts to just kind of constantly mother people. I mean, I think that plays a part in this, does it not?
Yeah, exactly. And that's true. I hadn't thought about it in exactly that way. But yeah, what you tend to do is what I tend to do is create an environment where people feel very comfortable, but they maybe don't necessarily feel comfortable saying anything negative.
And I mean, that's a challenge. At least I'm finding as I'm, parenting and things like that, because you talk about the motherly instincts. I mean, you want to do what's best for your kids, and sometimes that's not being as that's not telling them you did a good job. And do you find it hard to ignore that instinct? Then I'm guessing.
I do find it hard, but something that I've been using lately to remind me is that what needs to happen is what you think, what you say, and what you do all need to work together. They don't have to be necessarily the same exact thing, but they all have to work together. And I think it's a quote from Gandhi. He says, happiness is when what you think, what you do, and what you say are all in harmony, or something like that. But that's where it's helped me, is when in my head I'm thinking, why the hell did you do that? And what comes out of my mouth is, good job, honey. I'm like, stop, that's not good. So at least I'm trying to keep myself from these autopilot responses, which are everything's good and everything's positive, if that's not really what's happening in my brain.
See, my autopilot response is the exact opposite, and then I get yelled at from my wife because of it. But that's my problem.
Well, and I mean, honestly, I think that a constant of anything is not good. Whether it's as a child or whether it's any other relationship, I think there has to be some highs and lows. And so, constant negativity is just as bad as constant positivity, I think.
Well, no, Stephanie, I didn't say I constantly berate my children with verbal abuse. Come on now, let's
I
keep
didn't
the
say
show
that.
light here. Let's keep the show light. Regardless of how I continually break down my children's psyche, let's go ahead and take a break. Let's you towel off a little bit. Your turn to turn the tables on everybody at home and ask them a fearless question of your own, something you've always wanted to know the answer to, but we're a little unsure of the response. Now is your opportunity.
Well, can it be a question for you too, Joey?
I will answer. I'll play along.
You'll play? Okay, so I'm going to change my question. My question for everyone is, how many times in your life have you actually been afraid of the response of somebody, but you ask them the question or you put yourself out there anyway?
Really? You want to know the answer? You want me to answer that question?
I think I know the answer, but I just want to see if I'm right.
How many times? I'll put it this way: I can't remember a time that didn't happen. I'm not.
Okay, but then I think we need to talk about what it means to be afraid, right?
I guess I don't.
I'm talking about the kind of fear where you're just convinced that you're going to die if this person doesn't like what you did, or
I don't know.
Something that was that important, that really you felt like represented you.
Maybe I'm just not doing enough big, exciting things. I would say most of the only time that happens is if I screwed something up with the kids and I have to tell my wife. Then I'm really afraid.
Okay, that's funny. That's so funny. Could you talk to my husband after the show?
Yeah, sure. You can give my number. We'll talk.
Okay, perfect. There's a little training, cross training that needs to happen there.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that's really funny because I do think then that there are just personality types that are very different. There are people, which I do talk about, interestingly enough, a lot with business owners. There are people who are just very comfortable with risk. Sounds like you're one of them. And just, it's just normal. That's the way it is. And then there are people like me who are extremely risk averse. And I think it just permeates everything you do, right? Everything kind of becomes a big deal when you're worried about what could go wrong.
Yeah, again, you can come and sit in a conversation with my wife because she's more on the whole like I'm afraid of risk type thing, and I can't understand how you can not care about these sorts of things. I'm stressing out, and it sounds like you kind of have you might know what I'm talking about.
Once or twice.
All right. So outside of drawing each other up divorce papers at some point in time, I don't know what else we can. I mean, again, I'm not going to speculate on the health of your marriage. But there's a time and place for everything. Let's go ahead and get things back on track before it really goes off the rails. So let's try and be a little positive. Let's try and be a little upbeat. Where and when should we care the most then?
That's a good question. I still think you have to care the most. You have to focus the most attention on those relationships that are the most critical, right? The ones that are going to support you, either in your family, which obviously is important, but I think there are some of those relationships in your business that are also critical. Maybe it's, a particular client that you've been with for a very long time who always is out there kind of looking out for you, referring people to you. Maybe it's an employee or a vendor that you work with. But I think you need to pick and choose. Don't do what I do, I guess is what I'm saying. Do a better job than I'm doing of picking and choosing whose opinion you listen to, but make sure that those people are looking out for you the same way you're looking out for them.
Well, I think we've come to establish that we are the blind leading the blind in opposite directions at this point in the conversation. I guess we should have had somebody a little more even keeled to moderate the thing. Not sure that we can't go back. We can't have a redo. It's too late. Yeah. We're way too far into this thing. So then let's ask this question then. Being on different ends of the spectrum, how do you work your way maybe into kind of a healthy middle?
Well, I think you start by talking to people who are on the other end. Look at this.
Well, you worked your way out of that one. So what are we doing then? Are we making how are we getting people closer to the middle? Because I'm having a hard time. I'm still not coming over to your side yet, or even walking your way yet.
Well, that sucks. Why?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think there's again, like I said, like there's a certain level of confidence and dedication that I think you have to have in certain things that just will never be able to be understood by people that are close to you or not close to you. And if you are truly on something, hitting on something that is going to make a difference and make a lasting impact, it's going to be really hard for most of the people that you know and don't know to understand that.
So basically what you're saying is if you really believe in your thing, your mission, your vision, whatever you want to call it, you're just going to have to not care. Is that what you're saying?
I'm the host of the show, so I don't offer such bold. I get to ask the guests these questions, but that's my instinct is that from the people that I've kind of learned about that have done things that are, again, we're not just talking. Again, there's levels of big, right? Like we were talking quickly, before the show. Obviously, as you ratchet up that scale, I think it's going to become harder and harder. And I just look at it the way that I don't know if I need you to understand this. I know that I do, and I've done the research and the homework to know that it's important, and I'm going to go this way anyways, and I'm not going to really worry about whatever it is that you haven't taken the time to fully educate yourself on. Sounds a little terrible coming out of my mouth, but that's kind of where it's at.
Well, I guess as long as the other person is okay with being along for the ride, that's fine.
I mean, do they even need to be in the car, I guess, is my point.
Well, I guess if it's your family, yeah, they kind of need to be in the car.
They can stay home. You can go off on your little trip. You can come back. You can say hi.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, not like, all right, so let me take not immediate. I'm talking like your parents, your siblings, and your grandparents, like those people.
Okay.
Not like,
okay. No, I think you were talking about.
Not like, I'm not going to abandon no, like again, like my parenting skills have come into question way too many times during the show, and people are going to maybe be calling child protective services at the end of the thing.
Okay, no, sorry. I thought you were talking about your immediate family. I was kind of going back to the show you did with Chase, right? Where we were talking about, do you need your significant other to buy into what you're doing, or are you okay with the fact that they just tolerate what you're doing and they don't really want to know about it? That was where I was.
So let me ask this question: how small is the circle then? Like, where do you cut it off? Like, where do you put up the wall? How high do you put it?
For people, well, I think it's the question of the level of caring, right? In other words, as the circle gets smaller, you care about more of their opinion. And as the wall gets lower as you go further out, you care a little bit about their opinion, maybe on something specific, but that's it, right? Does that make sense?
Well, so opinion and support and acceptance, I think, are two very different things that should not be confused for one another. Because they might not need to give an opinion or even fully understand it, but getting that support and that buy-in, that selling that vision, like what you said, like we talked about Chase, I think that is important. But the opinion thing is where I have a problem.
Okay, so maybe it's just a terminology issue that we're having. Maybe we both agree, actually, Joey, and we're just calling it different things.
Well, it's possible. It wouldn't be the first time that it happened. Let me start to wrap things up with this question and see if it might help illustrate and provide an example. Where are you caring too much?
That's a good question. Because it's funny, I would not say I care too much. That's so funny. Why would I get to the end of the show and think that I don't care too much? I think sometimes one of the places where I care too much is that I end up offering to help people that I really genuinely want to help, but I end up spending time on their stuff, trying to help them, as opposed to finishing stuff that I know would be good to help me move forward in what I'm doing. So I'm not doing a good job prioritizing because I really want to care about these people and help them.
Are they seeing success from that?
It's hard to tell at this point.
So no.
Well, I guess the question is, what is success, right? If they feel more comfortable and they feel armed with knowledge to make better decisions, then yes, they just don't come back and tell me necessarily that they feel better, that that they've made better decisions.
Well, then are you seeing success from it?
No.
Do you think you will see success from it?
I'm hoping to learn from it so that I can make a better decision about where to invest my time, so that then I can see success from it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does, absolutely. Yeah, I just wondered if you had any indication on what you've learned so far.
Well, one of the things that I've learned so far is that it is sometimes much easier to try to help people in a systematic way. Like if you can create a process that just says, okay, did you try this? Then did you try this? Did you try this? Did you try this? Because once you've done that, the amount of time that you actually have to invest in helping that individual person is a lot lower than if you're actually out there kind of reinventing the wheel each time.
I will let you get the last word and tell people one way or the other. I don't care. You get to pick on where or how you think they should go about either caring more or caring less, and what one action that they might be able to do to actually see some results.
Okay. Wow, that's a tall order. I would encourage people I would encourage people to try to care more, but about the right people. So instead of just doing a blanket, I care, I don't care, try to look at the mass of people that you know and select a few whose opinions you think could really help you, and then go out and actively seek those opinions. And I have something in my eye, sorry.
All right, I think we can't do any better than that. I appreciate you for being a good sport, for taking the verbal back and forth. Stephanie, again, you have the book. Is it out? Is it officially launched yet? When is the book officially launched? Tell people what they can do about that and where else to find you.
I will drop a link for the pre-sale of the book, if that's cool with you, Joey, into the comments of the event.
Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. We don't allow such things.
That's self-promotional crap.
Yeah.
Who does that?
No, you shouldn't care what I think. You should do it anyways. You should just say, I'm putting a link in there and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Well, it is your show. I do have to kind of be nice. But
Nope.
yeah, so I will put a link in for that. And, if you're worried about how you're going to find the money for your business and you think that finance is a bunch of crazy people who wear suits, then I think this book could help you get a clear idea of what's right for you and then put in place the systems you need so that you can go forward and get the money you need.
And for everybody that isn't cool enough to be watching this on YouTube or in the event page, for all those fun podcast listeners, how might they check out the book?
They will have to wait until it goes on sale at Amazon.
Well, I can. I'll do this. I'll put the link to the pre-order on the show page when I actually post it on the site. So that'll be fearlesslyquestioning.com. It'll be /40-3.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, because the link is kind of
-3.
Amazon links. They're not pretty. So
yeah, no. So I'll link up to the pre-sale for you there, and you guys
great.
can go ahead and take advantage of that as well. So fearlesslyquestioning.com fearlesslyquestioning.com /40-3 because it's the third part of the show. Stephanie, I really appreciate you taking the time. Of course, if anybody wants to hear what fearless question you are most afraid to ask yourself in your own life and or business, they can obviously get over to fearlesslyquestioning.com to make that happen. And there's just a big box right there in the middle of the homepage. Just feel free to subscribe and you'll have access to Stephanie's answer and every single guest that has also appeared on the show. So that's a lot of fun. And we get to talk on Sundays as I send out a weekly kind of recap, and I'll get to talk all about Stephanie and what I really thought about the conversation and the most important things that I learned and that she maybe did or did not teach me. So that'll be a lot of fun. Stephanie, thank you very much. We're going to go get out of here. I will catch everybody on the next one. Take it easy, everybody.